so crazy. This is so crazy.
How do I say it?
In punto un su colo.
In many African cultures, a fuller figure, particularly one with prominent behind, is often associated with beauty, wealth, and status. Unlike in some Western societies, where thinness is often idealized, African standards of beauty have traditionally celebrated curvy body types. This cultural appreciation can be traced back centuries and is reflected in various forms of African art, literature, and music. The tragic story of Sarah Baartman. Unfortunately, the world has not always viewed African women's bodies with the same respect that they are afforded in many African cultures. This brings us to the tragic story of Sarah Baartman, a South African woman who was taken from her homeland in the early 19th century and paraded around Europe as a spectacle because of her large behind. Sarah Baartman, also known as the Hottentot Venus, was born in 1789 in the Eastern Cape of South Africa. At a young age, she was coerced into leaving her homeland and was taken to Europe, where she was exhibited in freak shows in London and Paris. She was displayed like an animal, with crowds paying to stare at her body, which was considered exotic and strange by European standards. Baartman's story is one of exploitation and dehumanization. She was objectified, ridiculed, and treated as less than human simply because of her physical appearance. Her life ended tragically in Paris, where she died in poverty and obscurity in 1815. Even after her death, her body was dissected, and her remains were displayed in a French museum until as recently as 1974. It wasn't until 2002 that her remains were finally returned to South Africa and given a proper burial. Sarah Baartman's story is a stark reminder of how African women's bodies have been exploited and dehumanized throughout history. It also highlights the ways in which Western societies have exoticized and othered African bodies, often viewing them through a lens of curiosity and superiority rather than understanding and respect. To understand why many Africans have bigger bum, we first need to explore the genetic and evolutionary factors at play. The role of fat distribution. One of the primary reasons for the prominence of larger behind in some Africans is the way fat is distributed in the body. Humans store fat in different areas depending on various factors like gender, hormones, and genetics. In many African populations, particularly among women, fat tends to accumulate in the gluteal region, buttocks, thighs, and hips. This pattern of fat distribution is often referred to as gynoid or pear-shaped, which is more pronounced in African women compared to other populations. Moreover, studies suggest that in some African communities, larger behind were historically considered a sign of fertility and health, traits that were often preferred for reproductive success. This preference may have led to the passing down of these traits through generations. Steatopygia, it's a unique genetic trait. Steatopygia, a condition characterized by the accumulation of large amounts of fat on the buttocks and thighs, is a prominent feature in certain African ethnic groups, such as the West Africa, East Africa, and Southern Africa like the Khoisan. This trait has been extensively studied and is believed to have evolved as an adaptation to the harsh environments in which these populations lived. The extra fat provided an energy reserve and insulation against the cold, while also being the influence of African art and media. African art has long depicted women with fuller figures as symbols of fertility, beauty, and power. Sculptures, paintings, and other forms of traditional art often showcase women with exaggerated hips and behind, emphasizing their importance in society. In modern times, African media continues to reinforce these beauty standards. Music, particularly in genres like Afrobeats, highlife, and bongo flava, often celebrates women with big behind. Lyrics, music videos, and dance styles often highlight this feature, contributing to its cultural significance. The impact of the diaspora. The African diaspora has also played a role in shaping global perceptions of African body types. In regions like the Caribbean, South America, and North America, descendants of Africans have continued to embrace and celebrate their curves. This has influenced broader beauty standards, leading to a more inclusive and diverse representation of body types in global media. In recent years, there has been a growing movement within the African diaspora to reclaim and celebrate African beauty standards. Social media platforms have provided a space for African women to showcase their natural bodies, challenge Western beauty ideals, and promote body positivity. Dispelling myths and misconceptions. There are many myths and misconceptions surrounding why Africans have big bums. It's important to address these to promote a more accurate understanding. The myth of diet. One common misconception is that diet alone is responsible for the larger behind seen in many Africans. While diet can influence body shape to some extent, it is not the sole factor. Traditional African diets, which are often rich in carbohydrates and fats, may contribute to overall body weight, but they do not determine fat distribution. It's crucial to understand that body shape is influenced by a combination of genetics, hormones, and lifestyle factors. While diet can play a role, it is not the definitive cause of larger buttocks in African populations. The misconception of surgical enhancements. Another misconception is that many African women undergo surgical procedures to enhance their behind. While cosmetic surgery is on the rise globally, it is not a significant factor in the prevalence of larger bum among Africans. In fact, many African women naturally possess this trait due to the genetic factors discussed earlier. It is essential to differentiate between natural body diversity and the influence of cosmetic enhancements. Celebrating natural African body types without assuming surgical intervention is important for promoting body positivity and cultural pride. Embracing diversity and promoting body positivity. As we conclude this discussion, it's important to emphasize the value of embracing diversity and promoting body positivity. The size and shape of buttocks, like other physical attributes, vary greatly across individuals and populations. What is most important is appreciating and respecting this diversity. The global influence of African beauty standards has been growing, with more people embracing fuller figures and rejecting narrow definitions of beauty. This shift is evident in fashion, media, and popular culture, where African body types are increasingly celebrated. This movement towards inclusivity and diversity is empowering, especially for African women who have historically been underrepresented or misrepresented in global beauty standards. By celebrating natural African body types, we contribute to a more inclusive and positive portrayal of beauty. The role of social media in promoting body positivity. Social media has played a pivotal role in promoting body positivity and challenging unrealistic beauty standards. African women and influencers have used platforms like Instagram, YouTube, and TikTok to share their stories, showcase their natural bodies, and inspire others to embrace their uniqueness. These platforms have also provided a space for African women to connect with each other, share cultural practices, and celebrate their heritage. The rise of body-positive movements such as #ThickThighsSaveLives and #AfricanCurves has helped to normalize and celebrate fuller body types. Encouraging healthy body image. While celebrating diverse body types, it's also important to encourage a healthy body image. This involves recognizing that beauty comes in all shapes and sizes and that no one body type is superior to another. Encouraging self-love, self-care, and acceptance of one's natural body is crucial in fostering a positive and healthy relationship with one's self-image. In conclusion, the prevalence of larger buttocks among Africans is a complex interplay of genetics, evolution, culture, and society. This characteristic has deep roots in African history and continues to be celebrated in various forms of art, media, and popular culture. By understanding and appreciating the diversity of African body types, we can promote a more inclusive and positive narrative around beauty. Remember, beauty is not one size fits all. It's a reflection of our rich diversity, our history, and our unique stories. Let's continue to celebrate that diversity and embrace the natural beauty that exists within all of us. If you found this video informative, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more content exploring the fascinating aspects of culture, science, and history. Thank you for watching.